warning of heavenly eclipse which is bound to occur someday. It was written by Imam Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani on the 25th of Ramadan 1443, equivalent to the 26th of April 2022. In the name of Allah, the One, the Overpowering. O mankind, have you ever heard of a sky eclipse? And I repeat my question to every sensible person and ask, have any of the astrophysicists among the worlds taught you about an eclipse of the sky? The truth is that they don't know about it, because their science is only limited to defining the times of solar and lunar eclipses. But I, Allah's Caliph, Imam Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani, I'm gonna teach you about the devastating sky eclipse that has never occurred in the history of time. It is because of the approach of planet Saqar towards a near place, despite the fact that its Saqar had already passed before and used to only cause a global and total solar eclipse visible to whosoever is in daylight. And those whom planet Saqar passed on used to see it only causing a solar eclipse, obscuring the sun from all the people on the earth, resulting in a global and total solar eclipse like what happened in the era of both prophets, Abraham and Lut. May Allah's prayers of forgiveness and peace be upon them. That is why the angels said to Prophet Lut, in the word of Allah the Exalted, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قالوا يا لوط إنا رسل ربك لن يصلوا إليك فأسر بأهلك بقطع من الليل ولا يلتفت منكم أحد إلا امرأتك إنه مصيبها ما أصابهم إن موعدهم الصبح أليس الصبح بقريب صدق الله العظيم سورة هود. The angels said, O Lut, indeed we are messengers of your Lord, therefore they will never reach you. So set out with your family during a portion of the night, and let not any among you look back, except your wife. Indeed, she will be struck by that which strikes them. Indeed, their appointment is for the morning. Is not the morning near? The angels wanted him to not wake his wife up, to set out with the rest of his household, but to leave her asleep in the town of the wrongdoing people, because she will be struck with that which is going to strike the town of the people of Lut and Abraham. As for the words of the angels, and let not any among you look back, they mean that they do not look back at the solar eclipse in order to protect their eyesight, because of the passing of planet Saqar will cause a solar eclipse after the sunrise in the time of the full moon, in line with the word of Allah, the Exalted. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قال هؤلاء بناتي إن كنتم فاعلين لعمرك إنهم لفي سكرتهم يعمهون فأخذتهم الصيحة مشرقين فجعلنا عاليها سافلها وأمطرنا عليهم حجارة من سجيل صدق الله العظيم سورة الحجر. He said, my daughters are here if you must. By your life they certainly wandered blindly intoxicated by lust. Then the awful cry overtook them at the sunrise, and we made what was beneath it, the earth above it, and rained down upon them stones from Sijil, planet Saqar. Chapter 15, verses 71 to 74. Also Allah the Exalted said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فلما جاء أمرنا جعلنا عاليها سافلها وأمطرنا عليها حجارة من سجيل منضود مسومة عند ربك وما هي من الظالمين ببعيد صدق الله العظيم سورة هود. And so when what we have ordained came, we made what was beneath it, the earth above it, and rained up upon it piled up stones from Sijil, planet Saqar, prepared from your Lord. It is not far from the evildoers. Chapter 11, verses 82 and 83. And the question that imposes itself is, why did not the people of Abraham and Lut see planet Saqar shortly before its passing, except when it blocked the sun from them, in a global and total solar eclipse, visible to whosoever witnesses the sunrise? So, why do you deny the words of Allah in the clear verses of His book, but believe the mockers? Will you not reason? Or Allah did not promise you, in the clear verses of the great Quran, of the passing of planet Saqar? Say, produce your proof, if you should be truthful, or I shall bring you mine from the clear verses of the great Quran. And when I say from the clear verses of the Quran, I truly mean that it's not something that needs further interpretation, but an eloquent, upfront and pellucid news in the clear verses of the great Quran, in line with the word of Allah, the Exalted. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين لو يعلم الذين كفروا حين لا يكفون عن وجوههم النار ولا عن ظهورهم ولا هم ينصرون بل تأتيهم بغتة فتبهتهم فلا يستطيعون ردها ولا هم ينظرون صدق الله العظيم سورة الأنبياء. They say, when will this promise be fulfilled? If what you say is true, if the disbelievers only knew, the time will arrive when they will not be able to ward off the fire from their faces or their backs, and they will get no help. It will come upon them suddenly and stupefy them. They will be powerless to push it away. they will not be reprieved. Chapter 21, verses 38 to 40. But I find that the passing of planet Saqar is close since it has approached a near place, to the extent of causing not only a solar eclipse, but also a sky eclipse. To explain, it has blocked the whole sky from the people of the earth. How terrible would this be? I swear by Allah and emphasize that it is a day when young men become grey-haired out of its horror. In line with the word of Allah, the Exalted. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فكيف تتقون إن كفرتم يوما يجعل الولدان شيبا السماء منفطر به كان وعده مفعولا صدق الله العظيم. Surah Al-Muzammil. Then how can you fear if you disbelieve a day that will make the young men grey-haired? A day when the sky will be torn apart. God's promise will certainly be fulfilled. Chapter 73, verses 17 and 18. And this devastating weighted eclipse has never ever happened since Allah has created the heavens and the earth. That is definitely the torment of a coming up devastating day. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وليعلم الذين أوتوا العلم أنه الحق من ربك فيؤمنوا به فتخبت له قلوبهم وإن الله لهادي الذين آمنوا إلى صراط مستقيم. ولا يزال الذين كفروا في مرية منه حتى تأتيهم الساعة بغتة أو يأتيهم عذاب يوم عقيم. صدق الله العظيم. Surah Al-Hajj. And He causes those given knowledge to realize that this revelation is your Lord's truth, so that they may believe in it and humble their hearts to Him. Allah guides the faithful to the straight path. The disbelievers will remain in doubt about it until the hour suddenly overpowers them or until the torment of a devastating day descends on them. Chapter 22, verses 55 and 56. Know that the passing of planet Saqar is inevitable. So think it right and return to your Lord and believe His words in the clear verses of the great Quran before you experience the torment of a devastating day. And so that Allah makes its passing from a near place cool and safe. So believe me and do not deny me, as I swear whoever denies the true clarifications by Allah's Caliph, Al-Mahdi Nasser Mohammed, did not deny him or the messenger of Allah, Muhammad, but denied the words of Allah, the Lord of the words. And Allah the Exalted said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قد نعلم إنه لا يحزنك الذي يقولون فإنهم لا يكذبونك ولكن الظالمين بآيات الله يجحدون. ولقد كذبت رسل من قبلك فصبروا على ما كذبوا وأوذوا حتى أتاهم نصرنا ولا مبدل لكلمات الله ولقد جاءك من نبأ المرسلين. صدق الله العظيم. Surah Al-An'am. Indeed, we know that very truly what they say grieves you, but it's not really you whom they disbelieve. Rather, it is the signs of Allah that the unjust repudiate. Other messengers were disbelieved before you, and they bore their rejection and persecution steadfastly until our aid arrived. No one can alter Allah's promises. You have already received accounts of these messengers. Chapter 6, verses 33 and 34. Anyway, Arab disbelievers asked for a torment on the day when the great Quran was revealed, in line with the word of Allah, the Exalted. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وإذ قالوا اللهم إن كان هذا هو الحق من عندك فأمطر علينا حجارة من السماء أو ائتنا بعذاب أليم وما كان الله ليعذبهم وأنت فيهم وما كان الله معذبهم وهم يستغفرون. صدق الله العظيم. Surah Al-Anfal. And remember when they said, O Allah, if this should be the truth from you, then rain down upon us stones from the sky or bring us a painful torment. But Allah would not torment them while you are among them, and Allah would not punish them while they seek forgiveness. Chapter 8, verses 32 and 33. And this is because the time of its passing is in the era of Allah's Caliph on the whole world, Imam Mahdi Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani, in line with the word of Allah the Exalted. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ويقول الذين كفروا لست مرسلا قل كفى بالله شهيدا بيني وبينكم ومن عنده علم الكتاب. صدق الله العظيم. Surah Al-Ra'd. And those who have disbelieved say, You are not a messenger. Say, O Muhammad, sufficient is Allah as a witness between me and you, and the witness of he who has knowledge of the scripture. Chapter 13, verse 43. Also in line with the word of Allah the Exalted. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. سأل سائل بعذاب واقع للكافرين ليس له دافع من الله ذي المعارج تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة فاصبر صبرا جميلا إنهم يرونه بعيدا ونراه قريبا يوم تكون السماء كالمهل وتكون الجبال كالعهن ولا يسأل حميم حميما. صدق الله العظيم. Surah Al-Ma'arij. A questioner asked for a punishment bound to happen to the disbelievers. Of it there is no preventer from Allah, Lord of the ways of ascent. The angels and the Spirit will ascend to him during a day, the extent of which is 50,000 years. So observe patience, a good patience. The disbelievers think it's distant, but we see it near, on a day when the heavens will be like molten brass and the mountains will be like flakes of wool, when no friend will ask about his friend. Chapter 70, verses 1 to 10. Also in line with the word of Allah the Exalted, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ويستعجلونك بالعذاب ولن يخلف الله وعده وإن يوما عند ربك كألف سنة مما تعدون وكأي من قرية أمليت لها وهي ظالمة ثم أخذتها وإلي المصير قل يا أيها الناس إنما أنا لكم نذير مبين فالذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم مغفرة ورزق كريم والذين سعوا في آياتنا معاجزين أولئك أصحاب الجحيم. صدق الله العظيم. Surah Al-Hajj. And they urge you to hasten the torment, but Allah will never fail in His promise. And indeed, a day with your Lord is like 1,000 years of those which you count. To many a town steeped in wrongdoing I gave more time and then struck them down. They all returned to me in the end. Say, O people, I am only to you a clear warner. Those who believe and do good deeds will be forgiven and have a generous reward. But those who strive against our signs to frustrate them, they will be companions of the fire. Chapter 22, verses 47 to 51. The day of the heavenly eclipse has approached, and nothing like it has ever happened before. And it is because in this cycle of planet Saqar, it has approached the nearest point to the earth, which has never neared since Allah created the heavens, earth, and since the beginning of the movement, the sun and the moon. And because of its super closeness to the earth, it will cause a heavenly eclipse, meaning that it will obscure the whole sky, starting from its rising from the south side of the earth. Then you will see the circle of planet Saqar obscuring the south side of the earth from the far southeast to the far southwest. Then it advances and obscures the eastern and western sides together. It then moves forwards to reverse the east and the west, so the east becomes the west and vice versa. As a result, the sun rises from its setting place. That is the day when the night precedes the day, which is the devastating day before the hour takes place. Will you not reason? So it is better for you to believe like the early believing righteous forerunner supporters who have firm faith. Then it will be cool and safe upon you as believers, that you save yourselves from the torment which shall make young men become grey-haired, and the sky will burst apart. Indeed, His promise has to be fulfilled. Besides, if the lion-like severe coronavirus did annihilate a quarter of mankind while you still believe those who promote the theories of mutations and global warming, you will not be among the truthful ones. And who is more truthful than Allah? Moreover, you will not be rightly guided. Then 50% of the remaining ones among those who reach their rectitude will be annihilated, or at least their hairs will turn grey from horror out of the torment of a devastating day, in case Allah answers their prayers and removes the torment from upon them. Do you know that the sign of the severe torment of partners of the lion-like viruses, the thunderous and firm plan of Allah, which will emerge from China, is not a mere viral mutation, but a torment of painful ridges from Lord of the Worlds? Allah will save you from it and every great distress. O my supporters, do not ask, what would be left for Saqar if the lion-like viruses annihilated half of those who reach their rectitude from among mankind? Then I reply to you and say, the half of those who reach their rectitude among mankind will be remaining. To illustrate, COVID will annihilate quarter of mankind, and 3/4 of humanity in general will be left because it will annihilate only those who reach their rectitude, excluding babies and children. And I repeat and say, the virus of the painful torment of partners will annihilate half of the grown-ups. And you know that half of the half is a quarter. Then 3/4 of mankind in general will be left, and I do not say that all of those who died out of corona are in hell. because deaths by corona at the beginning were very few. To explain, deaths at the start were either out of themselves by taking what increased their harm thinking that it will heal them, or because of taking antibiotics, especially at the beginning. So fear Allah and do not do them any injustice. As I mean that those who are in the fire are the ones who died after it had been clear to them that it was the truth from their Lord, but still hated it. So sufficient is the fire for them, and an evil place for settlement, which is the reward for arrogance after their inner selves had been certain it was truly the truth from their Lord. So do not do injustice to some of those who died out of corona, because among them are ones who died from reason from themselves or their hospitals, and not by corona, owing the fact that it was mild at the beginning. Anyway, the wisdom behind the lesser torment is that perhaps you may turn to Allah, my Lord and your Lord. However, the torment of the viral alliance of partners that is currently taking over China and is being increased in power by the words of the power of Allah, the word be, so it is inescapable, because it's not contagious, but it transfers directly through the air, and that is why social distancing, quarantines and lockdowns are not going to protect you, as the virus penetrates fortified constructed towers and tight guarding, so that you may know with knowledge of certainty that it's truly a substantive living being, and that Allah's Caliph Al-Mahdi Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani is truthful, owing to the fact that I have given you a ruling since the beginning that the so-called COVID-19 is a living being that lives independently without a body, because it is substantive and does not need a body to live within, like the respiratory viruses which you know. I swear by Allah, the virus is a living being that flies in the air using its wings, which are the spiky engines fixed on the ball of the virus. And the more they are there, the more the virus dashes faster. A virus with rod-shaped spikes is extremely fast due to the air pressure on the engines of the wings owing to the roundedness of its spikes. So if the viral living being wishes to move forward, it moves its spikes to the back to push it forward like a fired bullet. So the more it moves its spikes backwards, the more they push the virus tens of kilometers per one movement. And if it wants to land, it moves the spikes forward. Then they prevent it from crashing through the air pressure until it stops. Also, if it wants to turn to the right side, it moves its spikes towards the left side to push it towards the right side through the air, and vice versa. As for the roundedness of every spike you see, it doubles up the speed of the virus owing to the air pressure, so it rushes forward at an insane speed, becoming the fastest living being ever when it flies in the air, crossing continents and oceans, and faster than airplanes. And I'm not unjustly exaggerating, but I'm giving you its meticulous description, and this is what Allah has shown me. On the other hand, it does not use its spikes to inject the viral cell into humans, like what human physicians claim, but they are wings of rounded spikes, like pinheads, that enable it to rapidly dash into the air. It also has a face and a mouth that spits a narcotic substance that causes blood clotting, leading to the failure of the soldier of the immune system to defend the body. It also has many moves and different astonishing behaviors. To add, Allah has created a system for it in order to adjust the temperature of its body according to the climate, and that is why it is a living being that survives different climates. Verily, in China there is a firm plan of Allah that carries thousands of viral variants, partners of a deadly viral alliance of a painful torment. Hence, I do not need any of your information, as most of them are misleading, and that is why I give you a ruling with the truth that it, the virus, will make your knowledge equal to zero by the command of Allah, so that you know the true worth of yourselves and your abilities, in such a way that He humiliates with it the so-called coronavirus, your pride, and vanishes your vanity in your sciences through a prepared and equipped living being from Allah, the all-wise, the all-knowing of the truth. And I say nothing about Allah except for the truth. Medical scientists contradict in their knowledge about the so-called coronavirus, which is not corona, but Allah's Caliph Al-Mahdi Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani has mentioned challenges to you about it that contradict your sciences, which have become presumptive and mere assumptions and expectations in comparison with the science of the tiniest soldier of Allah. Certainly, assumptions do not avail anything against the truth. As a result, Allah has made your physical vanity go away. All the children of Adam, how many times did I pinpoint numerous points in the series of clarifications about the invisible and unidentified blood knot of viral strains, which has been recently created by the words of power of Allah, the word be, and so it is. that tackles the so-called coronavirus, which is not corona because it's not like influenza respiratory viruses, but it affects all of the systems of a human bodies with whatever Allah pleases. And it does not do anything out of its own accord, and you are not co-equal to the commander of these noble soldiers. That is Allah, who created and taught the aspects of a human bodies which are extremely gigantic, comparing to its minute size, as the difference between its size and the size of a human being is as great as the difference between an ant and planet Earth. And all physicians among mankind will know the reality of medical sciences, and they will find out that it is as if this virus is the one that created humans, since it knows all the details of the human body and its complex systems, despite the fact that it does not know anything about humans, because it's just a creature that does not know the unseen. Thence, it will get lost in the human body, which is giant and colossal comparing to the size of the tiniest soldiers of Allah in the book Quran, which are the viral strains of an unidentified gnat that was created by the words of power of Allah. The word be, so it is. And I did not mean that is a mosquito, from the visible and biting ones that transmit diseases, but now of viral strains that adapt to air, land, sea, and survive wintry, summery, tropical, polar, and extraterrestrial conditions. Moreover, I am not exaggerating about the so-called corona, that it's not the respiratory virus of corona, but a living being of blood, and is called in the Quran the blood gnat of viral strains that are faster than your military aircraft. How numerous are the super speed engines it carries, and the most recent strains are its global tsunami-like swarms which are coming from China. And the truth is, it could hardly be contagious. And that is for you to know that I, Allah's Caliph, Imam Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani, know from Allah what you do not know. And I tell you with truth that the recent one could hardly be contagious, so that those who perished would perish upon evidence, and those who survived would live upon evidence. Furthermore, I have taught you from its beginning that it's not just a temporary pandemic that shall pass, but consecutive soldiers of prepared and directed batches. But the truth is the recent one could hardly be contagious, because Allah prepared it to be offensive, to attack the fortified constructed towers in China. Then it will hit the worlds. That is definitely a firm plan of Allah. O Xi Jinping, who claimed that they and other arrogant ones are an invincible power. As a result, Allah has progressively led you to destruction from where you do not know. That is a firm plan from Allah. And here I have taught you that they are penetrative and professional attacking soldiers that are capable of attacking skyscrapers, palaces, and houses, and they dwell wherever you are dwelling. They also attack hospitals to hunt doctors who postpone humans to believe in the truth by distracting them with the false hope in vaccinations, rather than letting them humble themselves to Allah until they give up on vaccinations and quarantines, in line with the word of Allah the Exalted. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولو رحمناهم وكشفنا ما بهم من ضر للجوا في طغيانهم يعمهون ولقد أخذناهم بالعذاب فما استكانوا لربهم وما يتضرعون حتى إذا فتحنا عليهم بابا ذا عذاب شديد إذا هم فيه مبلسون وهو الذي أنشأ لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة قليلا ما تشكرون. صدق الله العظيم. Surah Al-Mu'minun. And even if we give them mercy and removed what was upon them of affliction, they would persist in their transgression, wandering blindly. And we had gripped them with suffering as a warning, but they did not yield to their Lord, nor did they humbly supplicate. And will continue thus, until when we have opened before them a door of severe punishment. Immediately they will be therein in despair. And it is He who produced for you hearing and vision and hearts. Little are you grateful. Truthful is Allah the Great. Chapter 23, verses 75 to 78. And the opening of a door of severe torment upon you is a recompense of your denial of Allah the Great, the Creator of everything and the sole controller over His kingdom. So, it is not a chaos. All physicians and different scientists in different fields who were put in a trial by the meticulous physical facts and forgot to think of Allah who established physics in the kingdom of nature and turned your backs on Him as if He was not a thing to be mentioned. Glorified and highly exalted is He above what you deny and associate with Him. Soon enough, Beijing will go into lockdown like Shanghai in the further east, saying we need to apply quarantines. However, these precautions are not going to avail you anything against the soldiers of Allah, as it did at the beginning of the emergence of Corona, so that it stops your will of life. Consequently, stopping carbonic emissions by 100% in order to distract the theory of global warming, that perhaps you may believe that the reason behind the increase in the climatic disasters of the war of Allah is not due to the retention of the carbon of your factories in the atmosphere, as per what those who deny the Lord of the worlds among you claim. And this task had been previously performed successfully at the beginning to blow up the theory of global warming in the atmosphere, but rather to know that the disasters are due to cosmic planet, that is planet Saqar, which is coming from the south side of the earth, and will obscure the sun, the stars, and the whole sky, blocking the view of the sky from you, which is a devastating eclipse of a devastating day before the hour, if only you know. So announce your submission to the command of Allah and obey Allah's Caliph, Al-Mahdi Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani, who has been chosen by Allah to be his Caliph on the whole world. Certainly, it is a great call. So what you think Allah would do if Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani is truly truthful, that he was chosen by Allah to be his caliph on the whole world? Would not Allah achieve his purpose? O Xi Jinping, the president of China who hides from the world the firm plan of Allah, COVID, and I see that very soon you will rush towards the world crying for help, but they will not be able to help you nor themselves, and will lose all the ways to protect themselves, including quarantines to prevent mingling with each other. And no vaccine shall protect you from distress and deaths, as indeed there is no escape therefrom. So where would you hide? And if you say that you will coexist with COVID, then I say, and how can you coexist with death? Because Allah did not send it to coexist with you to incline towards peace, but rather to subjugate you and the world to the Caliph of Allah, Al-Mahdi Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani, while you are humble. May the curse of Allah befalls whoever forges lies against Allah or denies his signs. As indeed those who disbelieve in Allah, the Lord of the worlds, will never be rightly guided. However, I would not prevent the mercy of Allah, the most merciful of all, to be bestowed upon you, the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Even if you are among the annihilated ones in the great Quran, because I know that my Lord is capable of everything if you repent, submit and surrender to Allah alone, no partners has he, and worshipped him alone, no partners with him, thinking that there is not any protection for you from the torment of Allah except in fleeing from his torment to Allah himself. Know you that Allah protects, while there is no protection against him, and you will never find besides Allah a helper nor a protector. And I am gently speaking to you so that you may take heed or fear Allah. O my brother from Adam and Eve, fear Allah. And I swear that if you repent and submit and yield to Allah, raising your hand towards the sky, saying, O our Lord, we have certainly wronged ourselves, and we have nothing but your mercy. And if you do not forgive us and have mercy upon us, we shall be among the losers. If you say that with the intention of servitude to Allah only, and submission and obedience to the Caliph of Allah, Al-Mahdi Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani, in obedience to Allah who created and chose him, rejoice in your glory if you ask forgiveness and give thanks to Allah. But if you disbelieve, you will not be able to escape in planes, neither military nor civil, because COVID will bring them down by the severe plan of the Lord of the worlds, killing the pilot and co-pilot to make the plane without a captain to drive it. Then it falls into utter ruins, like the Boeing plane that crashed. And I swear by Allah the Almighty that there was no technical defect in it, but the pilot was killed by COVID, which was behind its crashing, causing it to hit the ground. And you know that you did not find the technical reason behind its crash. So listen, O Xi Jinping and the arrogant ones of your like, I swear by Allah that COVID, the firm plan of Allah, will catch your stealth aircraft and supersonic planes and causes them to crash by killing the pilot, no matter how fast the plane is. And it, the so-called coronavirus, will act if Allah commands it to act in sooner than the blink of an eye. Then the soldiers of Allah do what they have been commanded by the words of Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Unfortunately, car accidents will increase in the worlds due to the death of drivers with COVID. But the deaths from COVID so far are tens of millions in the worlds, because those who died out of strokes and sudden cardiac arrests were not counted among the deaths by COVID. The stubborn soldier of Allah, while the truth is, it is the reason behind these deaths. How many times did I advise you, the children of Adam, that all of this is because of blood gnat, and not just influenza respiratory virus as you claim, but the death of the firm plan of Allah has set off from the Far East and the Pacific coast in the easternmost side of China towards China and Beijing, as global Eastern tsunami, which its deaths alone are 500 million out of every billion. Try to deceive someone other than Imam Mahdi, from those who believe the words of those who deny Allah, but turn away from the words of Allah, the Lord of the worlds, like the Arab Muslims. So woe unto Arabs from an approaching evil from the East, except for those on whom Allah has mercy, because they who deny Allah did not take a lesson from Allah's word with those who deny the great Quran at the beginning. So let those who turn away from following the book of Allah, the great Quran, not think that they shall escape the torment of Corona. And if they did not take a lesson, what had happened to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman shall hit them. Let mankind, the jinn, and the angels of the most merciful bear witness that I challenge the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to appear and speak in press conference or a video with his voice and picture about any novel issues in the world. But far is that from being the truth. Mohammed bin Salman would not speak to the words again through the Saudi TV until the passage of a thick rope through the eye of a needle takes place. So who are you fooling by these silent videos? Are you undermining the naive people? O Al Saud, here is one last piece of advice from me. Submit to the decree of Allah, for I have appointed over you a prince from among you, the horseman, Mut'ab bin Abdullah bin Abdul Aziz, for a while, so that I may see whether he judges justly and speaks decisively. Otherwise I will substitute him for someone else, even if he were my brother. I would not have complimented him at the expense of Allah's pleasure, and I seek refuge in Allah from being among the ignorant ones. Let the whole world know that Imam Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani is Allah's caliph on the whole world, and that Allah will achieve his purpose, like it or not. And we shall come to know, is there anyone other than Allah, the owner of sovereignty, who grants dominion to whomever he wills, and strips dominion from whomever he wills? And certainly there is not. How despised you are, in line with the word of Allah the Exalted. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قل اللهم ملك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير. صدق الله العظيم. Surah Al-Imran. Say, O Allah, Master of the dominion, you grant dominion to whomever you will, and you strip dominion from whomever you will, and you honor whomever you will, and you humiliate whomever you will. In your hand is all goodness. You are indeed all-powerful over everything. Chapter 3, verse 26. Peace be upon the messengers, and all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, Allah's caliph on the whole world, Imam Nasser Mohammed Al-Yamani.